what we do here is go back.
And there we go. I think we may actually be live. Yep, looks like we might well be. Good evening everyone, Mike here, Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and we are energy saving tonight. So in order to save energy, at least for us anyway, I've turned off the studio lights to save a few quid. So if you want to see things a little bit clearer, then obviously just turn up the brightness on your monitor. That will do just fine. I'm only joking. Kath, hit the lights, please. As much as it would be like, oh my god. Yeah, better add. As much as it would be nice to be able to do it in semi-darkness. Oh, left me phone there. Yeah, it's probably not very good for the viewing public. That's you lot out there. So hopefully you're all having a great Saturday here in the United Kingdom, in the sunny southwest. It is no longer sunny. It is currently very rainy, very wet, and very typically... I wouldn't want to sit in it. I would have mostly soggy underpants, which is never a good look. So thank you all for joining us on this Saturday evening. We are going to be doing a build in the Gamemax Icon, which is no longer on the desk. I've put it on the floor because it's too big. So the Gamemax Icon Mesh, which was kindly sent to us by Gamemax here in the UK. We were going to be showing it on last week's stream, but sadly due to a miscommunication with the distribution centre, yeah, basically it didn't get sent out until Monday. So we've already done the unboxing, done a quick video on it, and I did want to do a very more in-depth, casual look at the case and go through it. I know a lot of people just want to get the ins and outs in a short video. Fine, no problem. But what I figured, if we do a building it tonight, we can go through, see if there's any quirks, any issues, anything that needs kind of ironing out, or any kind of gotchas which may arise using the Gamemax Icon Mesh. To be honest with you, after looking at it, I can't see there's any real obvious problems with it. The only thing for me personally are the actual fans which are included with it, which are a little bit on the noisy side personally for me. Especially if you're maybe planning on using it in an environment where you're maybe like what we're doing, where we're filming, and you don't want to keep the noise levels down to a minimum. But on the flip side of that, it has got an absolute ton of airflow, which obviously makes up for the noise. So if you want airflow and cool components, awesome. If you want silence, yeah, maybe you might want to look at changing the fans out. But the case itself, the chassis, appears to be absolutely fine, borderline perfect in fact. And if you're a patron, you've probably already got access to that video. If you're not a patron already, head over to patreon.com/Mike's Unboxing, and you can join for, I think it's as little as like $2 a month or something. So if you actually really want to watch that video, $2 a month, and you get early access to all the videos. Basically, there's pretty much a new one every single day. So well worth $2.
Or 2 Sundays and none another.
Yeah, Sundays generally don't get a video because, you know, got to rest sometimes. So what should I do? Let's go through the parts. So the parts list, which is in the video, is kind of similar to what we were discussing in last week's stream, where we were trying to get our energy efficiency as down as low as possible. There's a few things which have changed, primarily because Gamemax, in their kindness, and also by way of apology to both us and obviously to you guys for not having that case here on time for the stream, they kindly sent over a couple of coolers. So we did, I think we went for the stock cooler, maybe in the PC part picker guide, I'm not entirely sure, maybe we did, or possibly like a very cheap Gamemax I should say, because it's a very close call with that one. So they've actually sent 2 AIOs, which possibly are a little bit overkill for this, but in my defense, I figured it would actually be a good idea to try one of these actually and see what it's like to fit an AIO, because most people are pretty much aware that, yeah, you can fit XY size coolers in there, but when it comes to actually water cooling, there are often other challenges which come into play, such as memory clearance, VRM clearance, access to the ports, EPS connections, fan connections, all that kind of stuff. So I thought it would be a good opportunity, rather, choking on my own words there, a good opportunity to see how flexible the case is and see what we can actually fit in there. So I will be asking you guys later what your opinions are. Now realistically for me, I think with this particular level of build with the Intel 12100, I'd be tempted to stick with the stock cooler in this case because there is so much airflow. Obviously upgrading the cooler is going to give some advantages, not a great deal on this particular platform because you're still only going to turbo boost to kind of the predefined levels set out by Intel, or ASUS in this particular case, because we can use the APE version 2 to try and squeeze a little bit more performance out of it. So you're not really going to gain a great deal. You're going to gain possibly a little bit more quiet, and well, obviously it's going to look nicer. So we will be asking you later what you think, 120mm or 240mm. I think 240mm probably is going to be the way to go, although it's actually interesting. I will be doing full reviews on both of these actually in the following couple of days, weeks, etc. So if you are considering a 120mm or a 240mm AIO and you quite like Gamemax's shtick and what they do, then yeah, keep an eye out for those. So we'll be checking those out. Power supply wise, in the actual stream last week, we were kind of looking at either something ridiculously cheap and cheerful like a Cylon 600, which I do actually have down here somewhere if I try not to drop all this other stuff. We're a little bit swamped with stuff at the moment. So I did pick up a cheap Cylon 600 watt. It's cheap and it's cheerful. Again, with the parts we're using here, we're probably drawing somewhere less than about 150 watts, maybe 175 maximum. So yeah, 600 watt bronze. It's not going to save a great deal of power, but the savings we're going to get probably aren't huge anyway, because we're not using much wattage, if you see what I mean. So some of that's probably going to be absolutely fine. But Gamemax, again, feeling slightly sorry for last week's kerfuffle, actually sent us over this. So this is Gamemax's gold 80 plus rated power supply. This is the RGB power, 750 watt, fully modular, gold rated. Yeah, what else can you say really? And it's got RGB, which sadly in this particular instance won't match the case, because you can't actually kind of match that with the case. There's no way of doing it really, unless you go for a kind of unicorn puke or a static color, in which case you can do. Quite possibly you're not going to see it anyway, apart from maybe a little bit of underglow. But yeah, anyway, the RGB bit is kind of here and there. The fact is, it is a 80 plus gold rated power supply, fully modular, and you can pick them up in the UK for somewhere in the region of about 55, 60 pounds, which for gold is actually pretty decent. Most of them these days, unless they're on offer, you're looking at somewhere in the region of about 70 to 80, even as much as £100 for some models. So, and if you go for something like the Seasonics, you'll probably be looking even more than that. Obviously, there are pros and cons for that. Seasonics, massive warranties, etc. Clearly, Gamemax aren't going to give you a 12-year warranty, but you are saving a ton of money and potentially saving a ton of electricity. Well, roughly, I would say over a kind of crap power supply, you're probably going to be saving at least 10% of your energy. And also, the energy efficiency internally is much better as well. So yeah, every little helps. So yeah, otherwise we've got the Intel 12100, cheap and cheerful, doesn't use a great deal of power, idles at somewhere in the region of about 5 to 10 watts. So when you're not actually using your PC, which for a lot of people is going to be quite a lot of the time, maybe if you're just kind of idling, or maybe you've just got a Chrome tab open, or you're checking your email, your PC is kind of almost asleep. So in those kind of states, about 10 watts. Graphics card, not going to be everybody's choice, clearly. There's so many things I could say bad about this card, but at the moment, it's a really difficult point. This week has been a turning point in terms of GPU prices and availability. There's been an absolute ton of stuff becoming available. This week even, the Founders Edition cards, the 3060 Ti, the 3070, 3080, and so on, have been available at MSRP from nvidia.com for UK people, which is basically done by scan.co.uk here in the UK. I actually managed to pick up one myself, so I'm kind of gone from this craziness to treated myself to a 3060 Ti, which is now in the video editing PC, so it's kind of like a work tool really. Gotta say, rendering performance between that and the 5700 XT, which it replaced, totally, yeah, night and day difference. Now I can render a 25-minute video in about 8 minutes, whereas previously I was kind of rendering a 25-minute video in about 20 minutes. So that is a significant gain and gives me back a little bit more flexibility. I can actually use my PC quicker, yeah, get more things done. So awesome stuff. Saying that, I haven't checked the footage yet. So I've only rendered one video so far using the new graphics card. So for those of you that are regular viewers, you'll know the problems I've had in the past with tweaking Adobe Premiere and getting various settings and losing audio or weird stuff happening. So yeah, I do need to check that actually before Kath makes that live. Kath, remind me, don't let any more videos go live until I've double checked them. Actually, I think you did one today, didn't you?
I did the Gamemax, I think, case.
Ooh, no, that was earlier in the week, so that's fine. Right, anyway, I digress. So, motherboard-wise, ASUS Prime H610M-K D4. The D4 stands for DDR4, because clearly we're not going to be wasting extra money on DDR5 at the moment. It is really expensive, although you do have some benefits in terms of power efficiency. So DDR5 basically runs a very, very low wattage. Potentially there's a save in there when you're talking kind of half a watt or half a volt. Actually, I'm not too sure how much wattage does a RAM stick use. I've got no idea. I know the voltage, but just having lower voltage doesn't necessarily mean lower wattage, or does it? I guess it depends what it is. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, cheap and cheerful motherboard. For this processor, we don't need anything more than that. And actually, because of what we're doing here, trying to make an energy efficient build, because we don't have all the extra things like we don't have Bluetooth, we don't have Wi-Fi, we don't have a ton of PCI Express expansions, we've only got 2 RAM slots, which, yeah, is fine for what we need to do. Absolutely fine, no problems at all. I picked it up pretty cheaply, about 50 quid, so £50 for the motherboard. Processor I think was about 100, so that is the 12100, the standard version, so that has the built-in graphics as well, which is going to be useful because obviously some of the weaker points of the 6500 XT will be kind of masked somewhat by this. So where the hardware encoding and decoding falls flat on its face on this one, with the i3 12100, those things will be taken care of by the processor and or the iGPU. So that is excellent. M.2 drive, clearly we're not going to be using mechanical drive. Mechanical drives do require more power, use more wattage and generate more heat, etc. So M.2 drive is definitely the way to go.
For the summer anyway. I
was umming and ahhing about a 1 terabyte or 512, and at the moment prices are kind of okay-ish. I actually had this 512. I've had this for a little while actually, and I figured it's a good time as any to use it. I did also buy today a Kioxia 1 terabyte. So that's an NVMe drive. That's PCI Express Gen 3 x 4. This one is SATA, so it's a SATA-based M.2 drive. Prices wise, these now you can actually pick up a 1 terabyte SATA M.2 drive for about £55, kind of unbranded. This Kioxia M.2 NVMe, a bit more expensive, just a tad under £70 at the moment. It was either this or the SN570. The SN570 sadly would not have arrived in time for today because of me being somewhat tardy and not getting on and doing what I should have done. So I didn't order it, so I had to quickly order this last night. Luckily it was from Amazon, so it turned up today, which is awesome. I mean, £70 for a 1 terabyte NVMe drive. It's not the best they've been, certainly. Probably 2-3 years ago, there were some Black Friday deals on. I remember we all went crazy and got TC Sunbow drives for, I think it was 1 terabyte was £60, 500 gig was £35 or something, and the 240 gig ones were like £25-30. So they were super cheap. So I bought about 3 of the TC Sunbow 1 terabyte drives. Sadly, still not quite at that £60 mark for the M.2 NVMe drives, but certainly it is getting closer and closer. And with the way the world is running at the moment, the economy falling flat on its arse, who knows what's going to happen? Is things going to get cheaper or are they going to get more expensive? Will we be able to actually afford them? Who knows? Anyway, moving on. RAM-wise, I did actually say in the listing it's going to be Corsair's LPX. Realistically, that's probably the best value for money at the moment, although actually saying that, if you are looking for possibly a little bit higher capacity and you want that sort of RAM, so non-RGB, then at the moment, oh, where are we? We've got this at the moment, Viper. This is the Viper Gaming Patriot. This is a 64 gig kit, but at the moment they do a 32 gig kit for just a tad under £100. So you're looking at £50 for 16 gigs, if you can get one. The 32 gig kits are readily available. The 64 gig kits are clearly, obviously available because not many people are going to be buying them. But yeah, sign of the times, DDR4, because DDR5 is out now, and obviously as the year goes on, as we get towards the M5 launch, DDR4 is going to become considerably less expensive, and then it's going to peak again. So if you do want to stock up on your DDR4, kind of any time now is probably looking towards being a good time. But at the moment, Prime Day is coming up very shortly in about 2 or 3 weeks. No, when's Prime Day?
I have no idea.
I think it's July the 17th, possibly.
Just another day to get
So
overexcited about it.
yeah, there'll probably be nothing on it because Prime Day normally sucks. It used to be great, like Black Friday. You used to get really excited and buy loads of cheap stuff. Whereas now it'll probably just be Alexas for like £5 or something.
5, 6.
Anyway, that's Dave Aikens. He's kindly donated that to us. Well, not to keep, but to do a review on. So I'm actually interested to see how that works because I've got my video editing PC. I normally put 2 or 3 4K tracks on the timeline at once, and I don't use proxies, so it swallows up a lot of RAM. So I'll be interested to see if having 64 gigs does actually make a difference over 32 gigs for video editing purposes. So anyway, stay tuned for that. What else have we got? I think I've introduced everything. Oh yeah, so the RAM, we're going to be using this one. Old favourites, the V-Color Prism 2s, which I've removed the bloody god-awful tops off them. I don't know why, I still don't understand to this day. So normally these would have plastic tops on, which I think actually, yeah, I've put over there. So normally you'd have a diffuser on them. Most RAM diffusers would be like clear or opaque, whereas these are kind of well,
12.
orange and green. So yeah, anyway, so I've removed those because they look ugly as hell, but we will be using that. The V-Color RAM actually is decent stuff. Our contact who worked at V-Color is now working over at Kimtigo. So we've not been getting any more V-Color RAM, but just because we're not getting it doesn't change the fact that I still think it is very good RAM. So if you've got the opportunity to buy it cheaply, which kind of isn't that common these days. If you're in the States, I think you can pick up V-Color quite cheaply. Here in the UK, very difficult to get hold of. You can get it via Amazon. Yeah, it is what it is. But that's going to be absolutely fine for this build. So I think that is, yeah, motherboard, processor, RAM, storage, GPU almost, power supply, cooling, case. That's what we need next, case. Let's have a look at the case. Actually, what I'll do is I'm going to take a quick slurp of water, I think, because I'm getting a somewhat sore throat.
And say hello.
And yes, I should say hello to all the lovely people. Ugh, stay there. Right. Let's make some room here. I feel like I'm being crushed somewhat.
Friday's is 12 in Australia, I think, correct? Yeah.
This power supply is really heavy. Ah, right, okay. Excellent stuff. Right.
What day does it usually fall on? I think
I'm not too sure.
Tuesday, isn't it?
Let's see. Is that in the shot? No, that's fine. Right, let's say some hellos. God, there's a lot of you in the chat today. Good to see you all. Hopefully you're enjoying your Saturday, like I said earlier. It's quite muggy here at the moment. We've had the last 2 days have been probably the 2 hottest days of the year. So far. So yeah, it's very, very warm out. And today it's been like basically half the temperature. So we went from being like 30 degrees to today being about 15, 16 degrees. So it was a massive jump, but it still seemed like all the buildings and all the air was kind of holding on to the temperature still, even though the temperature technically was cooler. Right, let's have a quick scroll up and see who I've not said hello to. So we've got O'Reilly's with us. How you doing, O'Reilly? Thank you for being a member for 6 months. Stuart Cleary, thank you for the super chat. Rick H, good evening to you. Sir Soppy Balls, love that name. Lucky Man's with us. Hi, Lucky Man. Craig Lilly. It says, remember to wait until Mike's trying to screw in the M.2 screw to donate more fun that way. Thanks for that. Antonio Las Esperanza says, good evening all. How you doing, Antonio? Danmar007. Says, I want to build a PC that will provide all the energy my house needs. Wouldn't that be great? If you could power your house from your PC. Stuart says his house lights flicker when he turns on his PC. Well, this definitely isn't going to do that. It'll be, you could probably run it off a car inverter, off a 12 volt.
My straighteners used to make the lights.
They did, didn't they? Paul Bakewell's with us. How you doing? Rick H is with us. Did I say Rick H? I did, didn't I? Renter Spoon says 90% sure this is close to a build I just made. To be honest with you, a lot of people are doing this sort of setup at the moment because the Intel processor is ridiculously cheap for what it is. It gives you a lot of bang per buck and doesn't use a lot of energy. So I'm just going to grab my cup of tea. Okie dokie. So Bob sent in a super chat. Hopefully you're sunning yourself, Bob, and enjoying and not scaring the ladies too much with your budgie smugglers.
We'll have a look at your white spots when you get back.
Yeah. Silvorius. I think I've spelled that wrong, but anyway, hello. Mark Point's with us. How you doing, Mark? Who else we got? Welly Bob said that one. Mick Woods, say hey, lovely people. Got to be the friendliest channel currently on YouTube, I reckon. Well, I don't know about that, but we try. Letters with us, the Vampire of the Darkness says hello here, and I will try and stay awake this time. It's because of the time difference. It's probably early morning, so Aletta, clearly being a vampire, generally sleeps during the days, but she makes a special effort to try and watch the program. So thanks for that. Nick Barnes is with us. How you doing, Nick? Craig Lilly, I think we said that already. Softball. Danielle Emberley, how you doing, Danielle? Nick Barnes says, where are the candles? Yeah, we could do some candles, that'd be good. Dutch Jan says, moin, moin, Lady Calf, Sir Mike and everyone from Germany. Guten Abend. That's about one of the few words I remember of German. There is a couple of others, but not many. A lot of them I can't pronounce. At least not in a family show. Nicholas Barlow says, good evening everyone. How you doing, Nicholas? Mark Point. Yeah, Melissa says, you can leave the lights low. I like the dark. Kath used to always say to me I look better in the dark, but sad. Michael Thompson says, hi Mike, Kath and the Mubbers family from Australia. How you doing, Michael? Mick Wood says, that lighting looked cool. Maybe we should turn the lights off. James Mustania say, hi everyone, how you doing? Mike P says, sorry Mike, it's either you or watching McElroy live in the Gulf. I'll catch your recorded version tomorrow, no problem. Kenny D. I'm not singing it. I'm not singing it this time. Chaotic says, hello, hello, I'm currently babysitting and she's laying in bed watching Peppa Pig. So I'm watching you on my phone. You should put me on the screen. It's much better to get kids to sleep. Yeah, and adults for that matter.
She's running 100 miles an hour now.
Oh, right. Oh, dear. Pierre plays. Oh, she's back. Back on the other computer. Pierre places, I decided to have a video account and a personal account. I think that's not a bad idea, actually. It does get a bit confusing, especially when you have anything of your personal life on your kind of YouTube account, especially if you're a creator, because it does get very messy. What else we got? O'Reilly says, depends if the amps are the same, then lower voltage means lower wattage. Okay, so how do we find out the amps? So there's not really an easy way of doing that, is there? Paul Baker says power equals voltage times current. Okie dokie. I don't understand electronics. Not enough to be able to do all that stuff. I'm just about can work out power supplies from how many amps they put out on one rail to how many watts it gives out. That's only because I've had to learn that. Thomas is with us, says good evening everyone, how you doing? William Bodie, moin moin from Germany. Where are we? I think I'm always up to date, I think. Lucky Man says budgie smugs are better than my mankini. The mankini, not the most.
Was he wearing that when he did his back in?
Oh yeah, were you wearing that when you did your back in this week? Your mankini went right up your crack, and ooh, now you need a backiotomy. Really, John Sullivan's with us. How you doing, John? Arindam Goswami. Don't know if I pronounced that right, but I'll give it a good go. Says, hey Mike, great content. Thank you. Do you mean another mic, or is it this? You've just typed it in incorrectly. All my love and support. Bless you. That was very kind of you. Pierre Place is trying to stop Frankie from banning people. Mike might have to use the personal one tonight.
There was a question in it. What's the specs in the machine behind you?
Vlogs. I didn't see that one. Oh, Zombie Bites again. Didn't see that one there. Sorry. How are you doing, Mike? Yeah, not doing too bad. A little bit sunburnt. Well, not sunburnt, suntanned. Actually gone not a bad brown. I did have a bit of a t-shirt tan, but it's blending in now. But the other day I was in the garden when it wasn't very warm. Well, it was quite warm, but it was a bit windy. So you want to keep the t-shirt on so you don't get the old frosty nipples. And yeah, my arms got quite brown. And then I lifted up my t-shirt when I went to bed. It's like, ah! It's like literally a dead line across there. So yeah, been working on that. Never a good look. Vlog says, what's the spec in your rig behind you? Well, that's the streaming rig. It's nothing really overpowered. It's Ryzen 5 3600, 16 gigs of core of thermal take, tough RAM RGB, I think it is in there, I want to say, or is it? I'm not sure. I think I sorted that out. Is that tough RAM? Tough RAM XG.
Take your watch off.
Yeah, take my watch off. There's the tan difference. I'm not sure if that's actually, can you see that on screen? It's probably the wrong lighting for it, but yes, anyway. Get the general idea.
Or he's just lazy, he didn't take his t-shirt or his watch off when he faked tan.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. The motherboard is a B550 MSI Gaming Plus. Again, not the best in the world, but certainly gets the job done. It's got a RTX 2060 Super and a 1 terabyte Silicon Power M.2 drive, NVMe. That's PCI Express Gen 3 x 4. Case is the TechWare VXR. And I've added I took out the TechWare fans because they were okay, but they weren't great. And I've replaced those with 6 Arctic P12 8 RGB PWM 0 PST fans, which are the dog's nads. They really are super quiet. Oh, and power supply wise is I got stuck on this the other day. Is it Silverstone? Trying to think. I think it's a Silverstone 600 watt gold. I think it's a Silverstone. It might be. It was one that was like a ridiculous offer, and it was like £20 for a gold rated power supply, and it's like, that's clearly a mistake, because it had some weird, I think it was French, the listing was in French but on the UK site, and they called it power supply, but it was some other name for it anyway. But yeah, it was like £20. Like, I've got to try and get one of those. Even if it's rubbish, for £20, it can't really be much worse than some of the Cylon power supplies, which are terrible, which I quite often use. But yeah, that PC's been awesome, rock solid. Other upgrade is a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet card, which is kind of necessary because I do a lot of footage recording on that PC and then send it to the NAS or transfer it to the other PC. So yeah, whatever. So there you go. Hopefully that's answered your question. M Angel says, hey, how you doing? Cataclysmic, hello Cap everyone. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
Michael Thompson wants you to garden
with my clothes on.
With your arm warmers and your ankle warmers on.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Get the rest.
Good evening, Glenn. Hello, Matthew Day. Sharkoon, thank you, Matthew Day. That was the one, yeah. Sharkoon power supply, well remembered. I couldn't remember that for life of me. I was talking about it the other day to somebody. It might have even been Kath. I think it probably was, actually. And it's like, I can't remember the name. I think at the moment I am burning out. I am getting to the point where I'm very tired. I am probably pushing myself a little bit too hard at the moment, so I might have to step back off the gas a little.
Lie in the sun a little bit.
And lie in the sun, because Lord knows I need it. Right, that's the pleasantries out of the way. Let's have another slurp of tea. I can't believe we're 3/4 of an hour in. I'm not even started yet. Right. Actually, there's no point introducing the case. Let's just get straight on and build this thing. Because otherwise we are going to be here until midnight. Which has happened before, to be honest with you. Well, I don't think my vocal cords will stand up to it. So, motherboard wise, prime, yeah, you've seen that already. So let's do the overhead. I think that might even actually be somewhat in focus. That would be a rarity. There we go. So this was a pretty good deal from CCL here in the UK. Nice and cheap and cheerful. Oh, nice one.
And a river cruise.
Cool. Kayaking and a river cruise. My idea of resting is, well, going for a dump, basically. Right, where's there's the M.2 mounting pillar. We're going to need that. Unusual setup on this actually for mounting the M.2 drive. So rather than being an actual screw, we've got this kind of plastic thing.
That's what you said.
Oh, right. Kath was laughing. I was like, oh, who said something in chat now? I was, oh, it's actually what I said. Oh, dear. Right, so this... Actually, Kath... Oh, no, you can't, can you? You turn the other light on so we get a bit more light on this bit.
I can. Flame will have to learn.
That's all right. Oh, I think I could probably just adjust the ISO on there. Have an ISO override, and that might help. So anyway, basically got one of these. And that just clips in. So you work out where your drive is physically going to sit in one of those slots or holes there. So I think it's going to be the end one, but we'll match it up anyway. Yeah, so it's going to be the end one. So well, it actually says there 2280, which is the size of the drive. So what we're going to do is pop that in there. Actually, I just thought, I've had a very, very bad thought already.
Not that, oh no, again.
It's one of those bloody, I've had two of those today. Oh, bollocks. That's a technical term. This particular setup only has a CPU fan header and a chassis fan header, not a pump fan header. So I don't think I can actually use an AIO. At least not reliably. That is a bit of a nose. So we might have to go with the stock cooler for now. Thank you, Michael Thompson, for the $2 Aussie. This is game over. It is now. It is literally game over.
And also William Bodie, I don't understand.
William Bodie. William Bodie says, at Cap Circle, did Mike wanted to make a show today as a host? I don't understand that.
Not me, is it?
No.
As a ghost? You should be invisible.
I should be a ghost. Anyway, let's get this drive in.
Do you want a sheet?
So wiggle that. And just put that in there. And there we go. That is the drive secured.
Mark Point said you should just be able to put the fan in the CPU fan. I did that with my MSI 320 board and it worked fine.
I'm thinking I'm going to have to look at the CPU cooler guide and see what they actually say on there and see what the wiring's like. If it's one of those ones where the pump fan runs all the time, then it should be right. William Bodie says, you wanted to be a show host today. I wouldn't mind being a QVC host. That'd be quite good. I got the TAM for it now. So let's get the CPU in. So this is the Intel 12100.
Yeah, the unboxing.
Oh yeah, the unboxing, that was it. The game show. I got it. Well, we are a bit slow around here.
The game show ghost.
The game show ghost.
Oh, you've got a wet little nose on my neck.
There we go, there's the CPU in the socket. Drop that down, latch it on, and put an extreme amount of tension on it. And that always scares me. I don't like that at all. It's a very horrible setup. How many? Hi King Hoglet says hello from Swindon.
Very near.
That's pretty nearby. How you doing? Good old Swindon. Swindon, the home at the moment of, well, for the time being, of QNAP. QNAP's offices for the UK are actually in Swindon. Here's a useless fact that you probably don't need to know. Right, let's stick that back in there. I don't think I'm going to be needing anything else out of there. Possibly. Right. Oh, that goes in the motherboard box, doesn't it, when I'm done with that. So let's look at the power, not the power supply, the cooler. Actually, let's put a RAM in because that is something which can be done quickly and easily. So RAM sticks, we've only got 2 slots in here, so dual channel is basically the only choice really. So slot those in and wait for the telltale snaps. There we go. As you can see, we haven't got the heat spreader diffusers on the top now, taking those off, which kind of might suit the lighting style of the AIO, but then if we're not putting the AIO in, it is somewhat irrelevant. Joshua says, I want a similar PC but with RX 6400. I don't know what, yeah, well 6400 would certainly be cheaper. Matthew Day says, can you split the fan and pump? Well, the thing is I can do, but ideally I like to have the pump spinning at the same speed as, well, have the pump and the CPU fan spinning, oh god, let me think. I want the pump to be spinning separately, or what's the word I'm looking for? Independently. Wow. That was tough. Right, let's have a look and see what is in this box. So this is the unopenable box. Where the hell does it? Oh, there. This box is getting the better of me, it really is. So, installation guide, let's have a look and see what the deal is here. Blah, 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 blah.
Turned into crystal water, isn't it?
So, we've got a CPU. Connect to the motherboard, VDG. CPU. I'm a little bit confused there actually because it's not showing. Oh. Connect power cables for pump and fan. But it's not showing the pump. Oh. I'm going to have a look, aren't I? Beamsy, hi, how you doing? Let's see, what have we got in here? Aha! This is perfect. Because that appears to me to be a SATA to PWM, so that is for the pump. So the pump can run all the time, full speed. Absolutely brilliant. And actually, Gamemax, bless them, I said to them what I was doing, and I said I'm gonna need an LGA 1700 socket adapter. And they're like, okay. we'll wait for those to come in. And literally they came in straight away. So that is the old one. And this is the new improved version. So I've actually included both. Whether or not you'll get both if you order one yourself, I'm not entirely sure. So LGA, that says 775. I picked up the wrong one there. 77513. I've got a sneaking suspicion I've put the same ones back in the wrong box. Yeah, they're identical. So I've actually put the new ones actually both in the other box. Yes.
You didn't answer Beamsy.
He said hi, that's all I saw.
No, it's up there.
It says hi, I'm good, thank you. Oh, I can't be scrolling, I've got to find this. Can't believe I put the same one back in twice. Oh, there we go. Intel bracket. $1,700. Yep, I did. I am absolute plank. No surprises there. Right, so that is the 1700 bracket. So you can see it's a little bit thicker, a little bit fatter. A bit like me after Christmas. Thicker and fatter. So I think we're going to go with the 240. I think that's going to be the best way to go. So we can use that. That's awesome. So actually, what do we need in terms of bracketry? Because we could always fit any of the brackets we need now, which might make life a little bit easier. So let's have a quick look in the owner's manual. Where are we? Intel series, so 2 screws, bracket, blah blah blah. AMD installation. So CPU. Oh, right. Basically, there's not a lot I can do from this section. So what you normally, what you'd end up doing. That's 1700. Yeah, I've got to check now. Actually, there's going to be an easy way to check to see if it fits the bloody board. Yeah, perfect. So that's going to sit on the back there. Then when the CPU's in place, we're going to screw down through it with the, that's all the Intel stuff there. Also comes with AMD stuff there, which uses the AMD sort of tighten down method onto the original fittings. So not the simplest way of setting things up, but I guess it will be fine. I kind of want to do it now before I put it inside the PC. Actually, yeah, I think I will. I think that's going to be a sensible thing to do. What was Beams's question?
It was opinions on 6500 XT.
Right. 6500 XT is...
I have a low budget and I don't know what to think of all the negative reviews.
If you've got a low budget, it depends what it is you want to do with it and what your kind of your intentions are. If you're looking at getting streaming and stuff like that, then it's definitely the wrong card for you. If you just want to play some casual games and you're not going to be doing too much encoding and all that kind of stuff, then it's absolutely fine. And actually pretty good value for money at the moment, about £140 or so. So there is our cooler. And nice to see that it's pretty much all done and dusted in the box ready for you. It's quite an unusual look to it as well. Are those thumb screws, or I don't even know how those would come out. I guess those must be caps on there. Anyway, so we are going to have this going to be pipes forward, I'm guessing. So we'll probably want to go round. No, that way is not a good idea. Sorry, I'm just trying to work out in my head which way round I want this to go. So when it's in the case, that is probably going to be the best. But I kind of want the pipes at the front. So that is going to go round, and then we're going to be like that, which is kind of over the top of the head. But those do move down, so yeah, actually that'll work out quite nice, I think. Yeah, that'll work out absolutely cool.
Literally.
Very cool. So let's get the brackets installed on there. This is definitely the wrong way of doing all this, by the way, so don't take this as being any sort of professional guide, because clearly it isn't. So those are going to go into there, and then you screw in through there from the bottom. Always screw from the bottom.
Can I ask a question?
Don't use that one. You can.
Fighting Hoglet, quick question. YouTubers look at CPU and GPU temps, but not the motherboard temps. Are motherboard temps important? According to Specky, my MB temp is 50 degrees.
Motherboard temperatures can get quite warm. It depends where your actual system is getting the temperatures from. So in something like Specky, it may pick up on various different sensors. So the VRMs could be getting up to 50 degrees, which is absolutely fine. Most VRMs can get into the sort of 80s or 90s before they're likely to be causing you any sorts of problems. So yeah, it's really going to be down to the board and what sensors it's reading. If you're not too sure, there's probably a whole bunch of sensors. Just make sure that all of them are within a very similar tolerance.
And Dutch John says, mic pump on CPU header and fan hub on fan header.
I wish I could. Oh, balls, I didn't get a screwdriver. There's always something. Let's grab a screwdriver. So let's go back to the other camera. So you know that I haven't actually gone to sleep and I've had a robot take over in my absence. As much as that would be appreciated. Oh, that's cool.
Viking Hoglet says thanks.
Oh, balls, where did I put the screws? Oh, there. So this actually works quite well. The way that, obviously with screws underneath, so that's good because obviously when you're mounting the pressure is pushing down. So the screws are never kind of actually holding the brackets in place. They're just, well, they are, but they're not taking any tension. Which quite often I see some of these coolers and I think, oh my God, that is just way too much tension on that. But no, this is all good. Oh, let's move that along there, move along the bus. So, using a cooler for the first time, especially something like this, it's always a little bit daunting. Ah, where did that go? Oh, for Christ's sakes. This is not my day. Where's the screw gone? Oh no, this is not a good idea. Stabbing a metallic, or oh, there we go. Stabbing a magnetic screwdriver on a motherboard. I know, I hear you. I understand. Right, that's that one on. One more to go. Actually, this is a pretty decent kit because there doesn't seem to be a great deal of wastage, which I do find in some all-in-one coolers. There's just so much stuff that you don't need. I'm trying to work out where the pump actually is. It can't surely be in there because that seems very small. Like tiny small. I think that's the wrong size screwdriver actually. It should have been a P2. Oh yeah, that's better. That's better. Nothing worse than using the wrong screwdriver head. Actually, you can cause quite a lot of damage. So yeah, so all we've got come off of there is, so that's our PWM connection. So that is going to be going to that SATA lead. That's awesome. And then it's just an addressable RGB. And that is it. I like it. Ooh. Take off the sticky bit. Because you know that I have done that numerous times. Kath, how many times have I done that? Numerous times, isn't it?
If you've watched some of his old videos, you could probably see it.
Yeah, I have.
Now you know.
I've done a few and I've done the temperature testing. And I've got to the point and I'll be like, wow, what have I actually done? Because it is just running horribly. Ordinary dudes in the house.
And Toolbox Wars.
And Toolbox Wars. How you doing, Toolbox Wars? I'm not too sure what paste it is that Gamemax have used here. It's a bit gloopy. Actually, I'm not going to use that paste. I'm going to use some MX4. Sorry, Kath. Please, could I have some tissue paper? Thank you.
Oh, we're not on a stream.
Yeah. Let's say hello to, oh my god, Brighton. Stuart Cleary, €10 says, hopefully this isn't badly timed. It was actually, because I was looking straight at the bloody bulb. I see little flashy lights now. You made Kath run. That is, yeah, that's bad timing for Kath actually. What other?
Oh, you've got the other light on as well.
The other light is on. Yeah, don't turn it off. Right, let's clean that off. If you do ever want to clean thermal paste off, you can use isopropyl alcohol and all that kind of stuff if you want to. I say this almost every other stream. Kath, remind me to buy some isopropyl alcohol. Shucks. Does need doing. Anyway, hopefully you're all enjoying your Saturday evening. I have got a very sore throat. I've had a sore throat all week. It's driving me insane. Well, actually it's longer than a week now. It's alright when I eat. Maybe I should just eat more. So I'm going to spread the paste. Get a decent bit of coverage on there. Realistically, this particular chip isn't going to be overly hot anyway. And with the 240 AIO, it's yeah, it's not really going to need this. But we'll do it anyway. Right, that should be enough. It'll splat itself out. So to install it, just 4 screws. Pretty easy. I kind of would have preferred it if there was some way of actually making the mounting mechanism stay in place, because if you're trying to do this in a case and the back plate is loose, you've kind of essentially you've got no chance at all. So even just doing it on here, it's the back plate's falling out. It would have been really nice if there was some kind of stopper to go on there to hold that in place. I guess it's kind of one of those things with Intel sockets that you kind of have to work with. Which way around shall I go? I probably want to go that way around, I think. So let's just visualize this a minute. So it's going to be kind of here. Yeah, I think that's going to be fine. So let's get one of these screws down through. And we'll just line that up a little bit. And try not to let the top make any contact. Can you see the concentration on my face? It's actually quite hard. Because you don't really want your CPU or the head to be spinning around. It ain't Kylie Minogue. Yeah, I was kind of thinking that this is a really easy installation, but actually it isn't. And I kind of got to say it as it is. There's no point me trying to pretend it is anything other than a little bit fiddly, to be fair. Although the actual brackets that are on there are pretty forgiving. And
the text bar in there. Sorry, I didn't understand what.
Got what?
The text bar.
Oh, sorry.
I saw it in comments, but I didn't understand what it meant. Text bar.
Text bar.
I thought it was some answer to something else.
Is that gone? Yeah, there we go.
Thank you.
So keeping the pipes out of the way, that'll do it. Let's give you an overhead so you can see what's going on there. Hopefully it's not too far out of the shot. State of my workbench. So we'll do opposing sides. A few turns on each. be able to do this all the way up actually with just fingers. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any necessary. Let's see if I can tighten up any more. No, not really. Maybe an eighth of a turn or something like that. Very, very minimal. So yeah, that's all pretty cool. I like that. So yeah, we're going to have this. Let's get those pipes down. So it's going to be looking something like that when it's actually installed. So I kind of like that swooping angle of the pipes, like twisting round. Yeah, I think that's going to be cool. Okay, so I think we've done everything we can do to the motherboard for now. So it's probably going to be a good idea if I pack away some of this nonsense. And then we can get on and get the case ready. Start getting it. Shh. Oh, I'm going to need those, aren't I? That's for mounting the radiator. So I'll keep those to one side. But other than that, I think that is all we need in here. We do need that. That's to power the pump. And yeah, all the other stuff is there. So yeah, actually, it's pretty straightforward. A little bit fiddly for the actual getting the pump head on. But the rest of it seems like it could be, I'm not going to say a piece of cake because that's just asking for trouble. But maybe it might be. Let's put that in there. Put that in there. Right. And let's move this up. Yeah.
Will the tubes hit the GPU?
I'm hoping not. Potentially there is a chance they will. But if they do, it's not the end of the world. I can actually, because of the angle of it, I could push the pipes up a little bit and I can raise them up slightly. So I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Is the case copy approved?
Famous last words. Right, so I don't need that anymore. Right, let's get the case up here. Let's get on the case. This will be where it turns around and says, oh, you didn't actually fit. Great. Should have done a test fit really, but whatever. So this is the Icon, Gamemax Icon. Mesh front. Very nice to see. 3 120mm fans installed. There's a filter on the top, which we probably won't be needing now. And a decent amount of size or space inside. Weirdly, on their website at the moment, if you follow the links, I think it's still a work in progress because it actually shows this case with the side door being on a pivot, but this isn't. It's actually quite a heavy piece of glass with a metal rim. So yeah, it does show weirdly a folding out piece of glass. I don't know. So looks like there's a decent amount of room in here. So that is why I wanted to do this live, just to go through and kind of see what quirks and weird stuff goes on. There's the I/O shield in. Don't feel like that's in properly, but yeah, I think it is. Excellent stuff. Yeah, it comes with 4 pre-installed fans, which is always a nice thing to see. You got all your screws and mounting hardware, etc. So let's take off this side panel as well. Give you a look inside. I'm looking at that now thinking, I don't know if the radiator is going to fit. It's one of those things we always worry about. Is it all going to fit? Will it fit or not? So we've got quite a decent amount of room in here. And the fans on the front and the back are all kind of daisy chained together. And there is a SATA cable. So that is kind of something which goes against this a little bit, is the fact that there isn't actually any control over the fans at all. They're literally just static spinning fans. So for some people, that is going to be an immediate turn off. It kind of looks nice when it's all fired up, which is one of the reasons why I slightly overlooked it a little bit in the review. Yes, obviously Gamemax do make their own fans So they could have quite easily put in some PWM ones in there, which would have made an absolute ton of sense, but then you've got to add a controller, hub, etc, etc. It's kind of a bit of a pain, and obviously an expense as well. Yes, Kath? Tomo, haha Mike, what an overcool cooler for a 1200. You don't need to spend such money for cooling 1200. Yeah, if you'd have come in at the beginning, you'd know why I've done that. So if you want to rewind, you can do, and you'll know exactly why it is. I was going to use the stock cooler, but Gamemax sent me these coolers, 120mm and a 240. So we're just trying to work out what will physically fit inside the case. Some people might prefer to use a water cooler because they want to keep the temperatures super low and keep it all super quiet, which with a lot of air coolers, obviously they do have to generate some noise. With a water cooler, because you've got a lot more thermal capacity, you can set the fans to a much lower speed and basically have it silent even on full load. So there's reasons why people might want to do it. It's not the obvious thing that people would do, but yeah. We try not to be too judgmental here. If people want to put stuff in, do what you like. It's your PC, just be happy with it. So I think I'm going to put the motherboard in first. I was going to put the power supply in, but I think I'm going to do the motherboard. This is all going to be a little bit backwards building, I think. Which, ooh, pressing the Windows key, that's probably not a good idea. So the pillars are actually installed already, so that's awesome. Let's have a look and see which screws I'm going to need for the standoffs. Now I'll have a quick look and just give you an overhead so you can see what the layout is like. What size screws? So got some extra screws, or pillars rather, in the packaging. Let's see what thread they are. I think they're the fine thread, although I don't have my glasses on, so they could be anything.
Is the cooler the Ice Cool 120?
No, Ice Cool 240. Or Ice Chill 240.
Sorry, yeah, that's me reading it wrong.
So I'm going to need 6 of those screws. That's the fine threaded ones. We don't need to install any additional pillars down this side because the motherboard is quite narrow. So that will not be necessary.
Hardware and box shoes by Watermax, due August, September with the 660 chip offering non-K overclocking.
Yeah, there is.
$60 US.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit daft having a motherboard that doesn't still technically offer proper overclocking for that sort of money. Like, you might as well just buy a cheap board from AMD and overclock the hell out of it. I still don't understand the whole... The B660 range is kind of almost irrelevant to itself. Actually, I didn't check that the pillar's in the right place. No, I need to move the bottom one. So that is something, micro ATX cases, sometimes this pillar in this corner here, if you can just about see that, sometimes they have it in the next slot up. So I'm going to move it up to that one. And that can actually cause all kinds of weird problems because it'll be shorting out on the back of the motherboard. So glad I picked that up. So motherboard in. Shame these days that not many manufacturers choose to do the old central pin to locate the board. That is a really nice little feature.
What is the depth of the case? According to website, it's 337 mils, but it also says 330 mil GPUs will fit in.
What, the depth from the PCI Express bracket?
I don't know, that message is gone now. Really random reviews, Mike. The Gamemax logo will be upside down. The logo comes on when powered up. Pump wires need to be to the right.
Can't you twist it? Turn it round? No, that's a bloody nose, isn't it? balls. Surely you must be able to change that. That makes it a little bit... No, I don't want to twist, does it? Good old Gamemax got me going down a rabbit hole again. Let's have a look at the picture. You sure about that? Don't make me take the board out. Don't take me... Yeah, actually, yeah, because if I take that out, I'm going to have to take the board out again, I expect.
Just flip the case upside down.
Yeah, that's probably a better idea. I've lost the screw now. Where did that go? There we go.
I think the depth is 385.
Oh, have I got to turn the pump round? Seriously? Like, in this day and age, you shouldn't have to do that, really. Because they're showing it on there with the Gamemax logo there.
It's really random reviews.
With the pipes on there.
I've had it for a few years. Or months.
Where's the... Where'd I put the box? Oh, there. Yeah, because there's the box. And it's showing the pipes on that side. And the logo there. Which kind of matches up with how I've installed it. How can I get...
Power up the pump RGB to see it should be a white line logo when lit up.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Different to mine because mine's 18 months old.
Let's see, how can I need an addressable RGB source. What have I got? Blah, blah, blah. Right, I'm going to try that before we go any further because that potentially is extremely valid advice. So where is my Gamemax hub? There it is. So let's put a little bit of power to it and see what happens. Oh, this is where it gets really messy because now I've got to get a power supply. I'm going to smash that glass. Right, let's get a cheap ass power supply and a kettle lead. And we'll juice this bad boy up. But thanks for the heads up on that because that potentially could be an absolute nightmare. You'd think in this day and age, especially today, I've actually been reviewing the Kraken X63, and that has got a pump head which is rotatable, which is possibly why I've gone down this rabbit hole. So let's plug that in there. I'll try to plug that in there. That power supply is so shady. Every time I plug it in, the monitor goes off. And I thought it was the actual adapter, but it's not. It's actually this power supply. Which actually I have used for benchmarking some PCs, so yeah. Right. Let's get a bit of RGB goodness going. Sorry for those of you that are bored out of your minds, because...
Really random review says mine is old, Mike, so they could have updated it to rotate for all I know. But mine doesn't.
Now you're saying that, now I'm halfway through it.
But you'd rather he said it than you get to the end.
I know. No, I'm only joking.
Or she.
Thanks for the heads up.
Is Gamemax PSU safe and good? Won't blow up, will they?
Right, well this one doesn't have a Gamemax logo in the middle. Is it supposed to? I'm sure it did. Right, where's the SATA adapter? Let's plug it straight into SATA and see what we get from that. Because it might be just a white logo in the middle. Let's unplug that, unplug that. Plug this in. Ah, there we go. So yeah, that is. What way round is that? Yeah, and you can't turn that round. Bloody hell. And there ain't a lot you can do about that, is there? Balls. So that and you can't disable that bit in the middle because that is all on the same kind of thing as the pump. How bloody stupid is that? Yeah.
Couple of questions. Can you answer them, or
If they're related.
Is the Gamemax PSU safe and good? Won't blow up, will they?
Gamemax power supply has got as much chance of blowing up as any power supply, to be honest with you. It's normally, the biggest problem with a lot of power supplies is the inrush current. If you've got decent inrush current modulation or regulation, most power supplies will be fine. I've actually been looking into the capacitors in the power supply itself, because it does say on the website that they are using 105C high quality capacitors. So I took some pictures of the power supply, took it apart, and I've sent some pictures out to asking around. Apparently from the people at Anantech, they're saying that the capacitors, they're not like Rubicons or anything, so they're nothing outrageously expensive, but they're not cheap ones either. They're kind of like a semi-decent mid-range capacitor. So for the sort of money for a gold rated power supply, I think it's pretty fine. It could be a lot worse. I can't believe they've done that. Actually, before I do this, does that pump head turn round?
Really random reviews, you can rotate the pump.
Can you? But how did you do that? Where have I put the instructions? That's not the instructions. Twice I've picked that now. You'd think you'd be able to. Right. Ice Chill installation guide. I'll tell you what, I'm anything but ice chilled at the moment.
No, I meant rotate by mount, not the pump itself.
Oh god. I'm trying to work out if it actually... How does it show it on there? Yeah, they're showing it actually in this instructions with the pipes on the other side. Ugh. That is super annoying. CXPS says, will you be selling the PC, and is PC building a good profit? I probably will sell it at some point. Selling the PCs, I don't think I've actually made any money on a PC in the last 2 years that I'm aware of. Because unless you get given the stuff for free, which in some cases you do, although like most of us are fully aware, you don't actually get anything for free, because we all pay somewhere along the line with something, whether it's your time, your money, your energy, your data, whatever it is, you always pay for something. So, yeah.
Whereas Random did it the same way as you. That OCD wouldn't let me leave it for...
See, that's really stupid. And it's got like a really weird blue coating on it, which I think... Is that blue coating supposed to be on there? Or is that like a protective thing I've got to peel off? Because it just looks... Why would you have a blue side? See, now it's going to be almost impossible as well to get those screws back through. Because you're going to have to hold the back plate in place and try and hold that in place at the same time.
Do you want me to hold it?
Which is really hard to do. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the radiator in, because that's one less thing I've got to hold.
Pop your door one out.
What is going on here? So that is... I've lost the will to live now. What a stupid decision to make. Like, why on earth would you do that? If you can have a logo, at least make it bloody circular and the same. Like, come on. This isn't rocket science. Right. So for those of you that are wondering, yeah, go with air cool. Yeah, go with air cooling. It's a lot easier. This is becoming the frustration build already. I'm just hoping and praying that this has actually got some decent cooling performance. Because otherwise it probably is a lot easier just to go with air cooler. Right, let's get those screws in. So I'm going to put the radiator in the, well, basically the only position that it will allow. And I might just put a couple of screws in for now. Oh, actually, I'll...
Hashtag blame Davey is here now.
Where is hashtag blame Dave? It's all his bloody fault. God damn. See, this is why we have this channel, so I can go through this grief so you don't have to. It's a shame that slot won't go further forward.
Is there room for the 4 8-pin once the radiator is screwed in?
Yeah, the 4 pin's going to be fine. Famous last words. There's actually a decent amount of gap there.
What blame is Dave taking now?
Dave's taking all the blame for everything. Dave is taking the blame for everything from Adam eating the apple to Biden falling off his bike. Yeah. Dave, you bastard, making poor old Mr. Biden, a defenseless 80-year-old man, fall off his bike because he's too damn daft to take his foot out of his stirrup. Jesus. Mind you, we've all done it, haven't we? How many of us have fallen off a bike? Although probably not quite as publicly and on TV. Right. Anyway.
Damn you, Dave, for the rain.
Yeah, Dave, you made the rain happen as well. See, this is going to look bloody stupid now.
So, really random review said, yes, Mike, it's very good. Mine is like 38 tops, idle 50 to 60 max. Gaming is a solid cooler mic.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Right, I'm going to... I don't even know what camera should I even be on right now? Not this one, because you can't see anything, can you? Let's go on to the main camera. So, now that I've got the rad installed, I'm going to pass the cables through the back for no other reason than it's going to make life a little bit easier for me to try and deal with all this cable clutter. So I'm going to take one there. I'm going to take off all the little twist sticks. That is such an annoying thing to do. It's definitely going to be in the review because things like that are just so kind of...
This way up or something?
Yeah.
Like a sticker.
Just a warning in there saying, please install this way up, otherwise your logo's going to look stupid.
You have to blame Dave.
It's their bloody logo at the end of the day. They're going to want to see it upright. But then even on the box, it shows it the other way around. So if, like, kind of most people and or me, if you look at a box, you go, oh, yeah, that's pretty cool. And then you find out it's not actually done like that at all. But that's frustrating.
Oh, lucky man wheeled a fold-up bike and guess what?
What?
It folded. I had a fold-up bike, but it was like still only half the size when it was folded. I wanted it in my bag.
I just had another horrible thought.
Yeah.
That the chassis fan header is in a stupid place. I knew I shouldn't have done this.
Well, Raleigh thinks it's better than a comedy club.
Oh. This is like, if it's alright on the night, Now I'm going to have to use one of these now. Plug that into the chassis fan header there. He says. Oh, come on, you absolute
Very
piece.
random review said their son did it as well, so that's 3 of you.
And I'm going to have to stick it in under there. And then run...
Now you've gone and got him.
Actually, no, I don't, do I? What am I doing? That's not a chassis fan, is it? It's a CPU fan. CPU fan's at the top. Chill. We're all good. It's all fine. No one's going to lose any limbs. This is why I've got no hair. Gamemax did it to me. Hashtag blame Gamemax. Don't make that.
Stuart Cleary.
Yes, Stuart Cleary.
Mounted rad is intaking hot air from the PC, so doesn't that affect the performance versus front or side mounted?
It's kind of, it's much of a muchness, whichever way you go. Side mounted for me generally is possibly the worst, because you've got air coming in at the front, then it's got to take a 90-degree turn to go through the radiator, so you're losing a lot of kind of air pressure to push through. So as long as the fans are okay, and also generally because those side mounted ones have got a case and cable obstructions and then maybe another mesh or vent on the back, there's just a lot of restriction I feel for the side mounted ones. Front mounted is the optimal one for CPU but less optimal for GPU, because the hot air from the radiator is being basically distributed across your motherboard and your graphics card. So your graphics card is taking in the hot air from the AIO, although AIO temperatures probably aren't going to be massively different. Personally, for majority of setups, especially like this, because you've got a lot of fresh air coming in the front, most of it's going to be exhausted at the back from this. What isn't exhausted is going to come out from the top, so there is going to be a little bit of a heat wash from the graphics card. I guess it depends on what graphics card you're using. Thank you, whoever, for the super chat. Michael Thompson says $2 Australian towards psychiatric treatment after your build. Thank you very much. And hashtag blame Dave and Gamemax. Dave Max. See, the irony is I'm actually using a Gamemax RGB controller here as well, which they could have put inside this case, which would have made life a lot easier. But yeah, where's the fun in that, I guess? So, what time is it? Is that... Oh, scheisse. Ultimately, all I want to do is get this plugged in so I can see how many watts it draws off the wall, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get everything installed and done, so that is probably going to be a follow-up video later in the week, sadly. For the green-loving hippies that want to know about energy saving. It's actually quite interesting, I guess. Right, so now I've got to hold this bloody thing in place. How frustrating. So I suppose I could stick it, but then I'm not going to get much pressure on it, am I? And
so an air cooler would do the job just as well and easier.
Oh yeah, air cooler. Well, air cooler won't do as well, but it would be a lot easier. Who's asking that?
Stuart.
Yeah. Right. How am I going to hold that in place and do that and screw at the same time? That's going to be kind of impossible. And those cables look shit.
Camera on. I'll hold it. If you want.
How am I going to do that? There isn't any way. Right. Does that top piece come off? Because I'm tempted just to rip it off and turn it around 180. But that looks like it's a mirror finish.
With a few screwdriver scratches by the time you finish.
Right. Disclaimer, don't do this. Also, Gamemax, I'm very sorry.
Can't you just Sharpie out the lion?
Yeah, just put a sticker over the top of it, it'll be fine. But I think that is plastic, so I don't think it's going to break. But I don't particularly want to be proved wrong. And is it stuck on? is lifting. This is making me sweat. This really is making me sweat. There's nothing like damaging something before you've actually done a review, which you've promised to do. But actually, oh crap. Ooh.
Don't forget the RGB around the edge.
Oh yeah. But I don't think the RGB is actually, like, surely that just got to be a one-way mirror. Or, no, kind of a two-way mirror, I guess. Oh, this is really, really not fun. I think I've actually marked it there as well. It kind of wants to lift, but I'm really, really not keen on doing that. I should have left it. The thing is, the pipes look absolutely awful. Well, they don't look awful, but that looks fine. I'm happy with that. And potentially even with that.
Can't really see.
But turn them round. So it is pipes down that way, isn't it? So it's going to be kind of like that, which looks awful. Am I round that way? No, it can't be that way. So it has got to be that way. So that just looks awful. Am I doing something stupid here? I probably am. No. Yeah, just look, the pipes aren't twisting kind of like the right way. That looks awful.
Can't really see it.
I personally think that looks awful like that.
Probably need to flip the radiator.
But then if I flip the radiator, the pipes are going to be at the back and then it's going to hit the fan. Oh, God. Yeah, because I'm going to have to shove it forward another... Yeah, but oh, actually it might just fit, but then I've got to take all the fans off. And I still don't know how they come off. I'm guessing that's just caps that are over the top of there.
Lassie says, get a hammer and get an air cool.
You're not wrong. I don't want to give up.
Turn the AIA. In the time it's taken Mike to install this motherboard, I've made a meshlicious computer, made a Victoria sponge cake and made love to my girlfriend twice. I'm watching Mike's unboxing on a Saturday evening. I don't have a girlfriend. Probably need to flip the radiator.
I'm not flipping the radiator. I'm not going to flip the radiator. I'm going to go with the logo being round the wrong way, I think. Because the pipes look absolutely ghastly the other way round. And most people aren't going to even notice the logo's upside down. And if they do, well, I will give them a reward. Yeah, that looks much better. The pipes look like they should be there. So to hell with Gamemax.
Why would the pipes hit the fan?
Because of these pipes would have to be shoved right up against that radiator, this fan on the back, to make it fit properly. And with the pipes flexing, there's a really strong chance they're going to touch that.
Lassie says, wish him luck with the build.
Oh God! Why did I start this?
That's what Mark
It's-
Barry says. One of those jobs wish you'd never started.
It's been like this all day. It's been a day of it, hasn't it, Kath?
Just turn the AIA.
Yeah, but if I turn the AIO, it doesn't help. It just turns it exactly the other way around. And I'm going to have to take all the fans off. Right, I'm going to do it. I'll do it just to prove a point. I don't think it's going to make much difference, but I'm relatively happy to go along with these things. But again, it seems stupid. If that is the fact that you have to have the AIO run the other way, it seems daft that Gamemax would, in the factory, put the fans on the wrong way. Like, why would they do that? That makes no sense at all. I can see this ending up being one of those to be continued, so I might have to just start again. Just give up.
Couldn't tell what the logo looked like anyway.
Oh, don't say that. I've almost got the bloody thing out now. Oh yeah, and I've put the cables down the back. Yeah, because why would they wouldn't put the cables for the AIO? They wouldn't make it so you literally have to take the fans off to install it, would they? That's just lunacy. And you very rarely ever have an AIO with the pump, with the pipes at the back. It's very, very rare that actually happens. I'm trying to think of a one in recent memory which would be like that. No, sod it. I'm going back to the first plan. Ow, I'm standing on my wire. Am I standing on my cable still? Yeah. Right, let's go back to the original plan. Making decisions on the fly is what it's all about. It's a good job this wasn't scripted in it anyway. What's Matthew Day saying? If I was you, I wouldn't start from here. Don't start from anywhere. Just turn off the stream.
Turn right around so pump wires are at the rear and drop under it. Lucky man be defeated. And air cool for F's sake. Craig Lily, if he might turn his AIO to the dark side, it could become a powerful ally. Matthew Day, if I were you, I wouldn't start from here.
I don't get what that means.
Why take the fans off?
Well, because the cables are at the back. So, right, let me pull this out so I can kind of explain where I'm at with this. Right, so clearly when you're installing an AIO...
Mark Berry, sometimes when it doesn't go right, I come back to it the next day just in case I lose my rack.
Yeah, so obviously the cables are at the back here. And they put them on the back so you can route it out the back of the case. So it looks tidy. Because otherwise, if I flip it round, those cables are going to be showing on the outside. Okay? So that means that either it isn't designed to be installed that way round, or Gamemax made an error at the factory and put them on the wrong way round.
Or it's time to use the 120.
Yeah, or it's time to use something else altogether. But no, I'm not going to give up because I think I like the look of it and I want it to go in there. But what I'm trying to say is when people are saying turn the radiator around, yeah, that's fine, you can turn it around, but it means you've got to take the fans off because the cables come out at a certain place. So that's what I mean. They've designed it in the box to be ready to go.
Do you want some more tissue to get the thermal paste off?
No, I'll leave it on there. It's fine. So yeah, am I going mad? Or that is right, isn't it? They've put the fans on for that reason. And the fact they've even put plastic caps over the fan screws so you don't have to remove it kind of makes it even more that that is the way. I don't think often you'd have the pipes at the back.
Do you have a left-sided case?
Yeah. Maybe I should get a right-sided case. Oh no, I've got thermal paste on the desk and it's going everywhere.
I know you've got the desk dust on it and I'm have to taste it.
This is turning out to be a real pain. It's too damn hot. Can you open the window? please. Right, I'm going to put those back through. And I'm just going to put it on around the wrong way. I think putting it around the wrong way is the right way. And I'm actually waiting on Gamemax to get back to me on another issue. So I'm just going to line this up as another. The other issue was literally just a question, so it wasn't anything like out of the ordinary. It's just like I have a question about a product which I'd like answered. And they're like, oh, we'll speak to you on Monday. It's like, well, I've got a stream on Saturday, so it'd be really nice to have the information to hand, but never mind, it's fine, it's fine. And in fact, the question was, and I think it's quite a valid question, I asked who the OEM is for the power supply. Because I know what it's like with power supplies, people get really, really, really kind of uptight about who makes what power supply and what is in them, etc., etc., which I get. Some people are really wanting to know and inquisitive about all that kind of stuff. I get it, I hear you. So I thought, right, let's find out who the OEM is of the Gamemax power supply. And that way, when people start saying this, that and the other, I can say, well, it's actually made by such and such, who also make this power supply, this power supply, and this power supply. So there is my reasoning behind it. So in my investigations, it appears that the power supply is a tier C power supply, which isn't the best, clearly, because tier C is kind of like the middle. Tier D is like not so good, and E is like fire starters, so don't use those. So tier C is absolutely fine, especially for the price. But I wanted to know who made it. But they were saying that they actually make the power supply themselves, actually in a factory. And I was like, oh wow, really? It's like a bit gobsmacked, because I didn't think Gamemax would be a big enough company to make their own power supplies. Well, I guess they make other things, so why not? Some of Gamemax's products are actually...
Is that the glass gone?
That'll be the glass panel gone. Yeah, some of Gamemax's products I think are made in conjunction with a company called Soho or Suho in Hong Kong. And yeah, they actually, if you go to their site, it actually shows the products with the Gamemax logos on it. So it's not as if it's like any secret or anything. So that is the kind of, not so much an OEM, but kind of an ODM. So they're Gamemax designed the products and another company makes it, because obviously making cases and components and stuff like that is bloody expensive. But I guess when it comes to things like a power supply, it's actually not that expensive if you buy in some boards and just attach your capacitors and diodes and all that kind of stuff to it. It's probably not that expensive to do. But yeah, it just seemed that it was, I was genuinely a little bit surprised. Like, oh, really cool. I wanted to know a bit more about it, but he was a little bit busy, so I didn't follow that up. But as soon as I find out, I will let you all know. I'm sure you'll be interested. There's going to be people out there which, straight out, without even watching the video or investigating in any way, shape or form, will immediately be, it's not Seasonic, not interested. That's fine. It's like, that is entirely anybody's prerogative, because some people are just like that. I get it entirely. I understand. Well, I don't understand. I get where you're coming from. But why spend an absolute ton of money when you don't necessarily need to, especially when you're dealing with kind of moderately low-end parts? I know people say, well, what about if it sets fire to your house? It's like, well, any power supply can do that. I've seen all sorts of power supplies that have lit on fire, and there's no real rhyme or reason why it happens or when it happens. It could be down to faulty electrics in the house, it could be down to anything. So to turn around and say this house burnt down and it's specifically because of an power supply seems a bit like, well, okay, do you know that for sure? So we're back to where we were at least half an hour or so ago, thanks to really random reviews.
So you're going to have it upside down?
I'm going to have it upside down. I just don't care anymore. I really don't. Oh, I got to try and do this now. See, this is why this backplate situation is not great. Why, oh why, oh why did I not go down the AMD route?
Really random, so I'm so sorry, Mike.
That's fine. I'll take it out with my my counselor. Right, if I can get one screw in, I should be relatively good.
Didn't want you to find out after all the effort.
No, it's absolutely fine. I'm glad you said something, because there's a lot of people out there who would have just like let them carry on, and then watch the tears at the end.
No, you can watch your tears at the end, but people
You can still watch the tears, yeah. I'm not,
know they're coming.
I'm not denying you of your tears. Oh God, this is a real kerfuffle. Magnetic screwdriver is not magnetic enough.
Vertical GPU mount. What do you reckon to vertical GPU?
I don't like vertical GPUs unless they're water cooled, in which case I think they look absolutely amazing. But I think most graphics cards, especially modern ones with like half decent fans on, don't often lend themselves well to vertical mounting, especially if they're like 2.5 slots deep, because it just gets too close to the glass. It looks nice, don't get me wrong, I do like the look of it, the intention is fantastic, but I think the execution is generally quite poor. There's very few cases that actually have 3 slots available.
Do you have a bigger case?
I don't. No, this is the biggest micro ATX case I've got. A larger case would have been easier to work with. That's the trade-off. With micro ATX you get to buy cheaper motherboards, arguably slightly cheaper cases, but there is always going to be a trade-off somewhere along the line. Right. And relax.
I hope it doesn't leak after trying to pry the top open.
Oh no, the top bit's so far away from the water part of it that yeah, a leak isn't going to be an issue.
That's you. Cold from that water leak.
Yeah.
Sopan says 650 XT texture loading issue is really bad.
I wasn't aware there was a texture loading issue. That's another reason why with the 6500 XT in this particular setup is because we do have PCI Express Gen 4. So any kind of potential bottlenecks that might arise are mitigated with the combination of the processor and the motherboard. I'm genuinely excited. Sorry, my genuine excitement has got the better of me. I'm going to have to untuck myself. My genuine excitement of this combination with a tiny little case, effectively, and a very budget graphics card, or a very poorly rated graphics card, but with a half-decent gaming CPU. I think it's going to be an interesting one to see what it will actually do. And I'm pretty sure that I'm going to probably end up repasting this. Because I'm pretty sure that the paste has been very much obliterated with this little kerfuffle going on. But anyway, it's in.
It seems Wild Bill must have said something about NZ XT cooler.
Yes.
But I can't see the message on there.
Oh, right.
Even though I've got live chat. But Mark points like, now I'm really going to have to become a NZXT chill boy. But we've been doing that
today and yesterday I've been reviewing NZXT stuff, and I've got to be honest with you, I'm not that overly impressed with it. It's fine. It looks nice, but I wouldn't say the case or the cooler. The cooler performs well. It does pretty decent. It isn't outstanding. It's a little bit noisy. There's weird pump noise. I actually forgot to say it in the review, so I need to add that in. Yeah, I definitely need to do that. There's something odd with the X63, whereas when it first starts up, it's pretty quiet. Then it gets really, really loud, like bubbly. I thought there was water leaking inside. I quickly looked inside. It's like, oh shit, there's water going everywhere. That's what it sounded like. It sounded like gushing water, but there was nothing leaking. And apparently, I looked on Gamers Nexus, and Steve had the same problem with his, where it was like super, super noisy with what sounded like rushing water. But it settled down after I did a couple of Cinebench runs just to see if I could get the pump in there, everything settled. And probably after about quarter of an hour, 20 minutes, it settled down. It was absolutely fine. But yeah, it was a bit scary at the time. Yes, very odd. So yeah, I wouldn't say NZXT stuff. It's very much a style thing. You're not buying it for performance reasons, for sure.
Well, Bill says never mentioned NZXT.
Oh, right.
Don't even like it. That's why I can't see the message about it then.
I'm in a similar position. If NZXT said to me, Mike, do you want anything for free? I would say yes, thank you very much.
He identifies as a Corsair fan.
That's very kind of you. Well done. But yeah, NZXT stuff for me, I can kind of take it or leave it.
Is there a reason you didn't put it in the front?
Yeah, because there's 3 included fans and well, no, because the fans, the way they're set up, you'd have to basically you can't, because the fans don't have an outer frame on them, so they only mount on one side, so you can't screw into them to mount it there. So the radiator would be mounted, if I mounted it radiator side on here, it would be blowing out rather than pulling in. Hopefully that makes sense. It doesn't to me, and I did it. Oh, there's so many cables here now. Right, let's do the front I/O and get out of the way before I lose all will to live. More so. Right, front I/O. That's going to be nice and simple. Something NZXT do nice actually in their cases are the front panel I/O connections. Those are really good.
Mike, what did you think of the MSI 280 AIO?
280 I/O was good. No, I didn't. It was absolutely fine. It didn't really fit my case, which was a little bit of a nose. I was almost 100% confident that I could fit it in my case very easily, and it was a little bit on the tight side. And because I didn't really need it, but I was interested to see how it performed, that was the reason why I bought it, and then reviewed it, and then sent it back to good old Amazon. But yeah, there wasn't any issue with it at all. In fact, if anything, it was a really good cooler.
Poppy.
It's a shame actually that I didn't keep it, because it would have been really good to put up against the X63, which I sadly tested with a different CPU, so I can't kind of directly compare. Oh, shut up, you.
Oh, my puppy's fully inflamed.
Chuck them both out in the rain.
Flamey.
I am a heartless bastard. Oh, that's a shame that oh, I should have put that through there. Oh dear. Why did I put USB 3 headers in the top on ASUS boards? This has turned out to be one of those days, it really is. Right, USB, front USB. Where is front USB? I should know this because I've not long reviewed this board.
Why Bill wants to know, is there anyone here that has the 5000T and has managed to fit 3 times 140mm fans? It looks like they'll fit.
Not sure. 5000T? What? I've not even heard. Is that a 3000D?
It says 5000T.
If that's a Corsair, I think it's a D. But yeah, I think that's...
It could be a typo though, not that far apart.
Yeah. Right, there's the front I/O done. I want to die. Literally. Shouldn't say that. Right, oh, what do I drop now? Oh, it's right, power cable, that's fine. So, let's get the power supply in. I'm really wishing now to go with a smaller power supply.
Did you say I was talking about lists in my dream?
No.
Stuart Cleary said he makes old-fashioned notes with pen and paper. I love lists.
Oh, lists?
Yeah.
Yeah, we said lisps. Right, power supply time. This is actually really cool. It comes with a bag of cables, which is always a nice thing to have. And the power supply itself. And all of its mad RGB goodness. It's actually quite funny because if you watch the bearded one, which is our esteemed colleague at Adamant IT, he often uses one of these in his test bench. Test bench? Mish Moneypenny. Yeah, he uses one of these quite a lot. So, big bag of cables. I'm not going to go through all the individual cables because I think that is possibly a little bit pointless at the moment. And there's a super chat from Rick H, $20. Thank you very much. Says Mike, you the man. I am very much a man. Most of the time. Apart from when I'm told not to be.
Bye.
By anybody. Tomorrow I'll be a man because it's Father's Day tomorrow. So for those of you that haven't bought your Father's Day gifts, now is going to be a really good time to panic and go and buy some.
Affiliate links.
Affiliate links from Amazon are included down below. This is bizarre. This is a 750 watt gold rated power supply. And it comes with two 8-pin CPU connectors. So you can get a little bit of extra juice to your motherboard. But bizarrely, it only comes with two 8-pin graphics card ones. So I know graphics cards are using less and less, and even my 3060 Ti actually only uses 8-pin, which I was kind of surprised at. But I suppose with efficiency being what it is, yeah, it is getting to be that way. Yeah, I was really surprised. I would have thought the fact as well, on the back of this, there is actually 4 PCIe connections. So you'd think like you'd at least get 2 cables, but no, apparently you don't. Which is a little bit of a shame. Now clearly in our instance we only need one 6-pin, I think. So we're not really even kind of coming close to what this can actually deliver. And it is completely overkill. It really is. But it's gold rated, so it's energy efficient. And there's a strong chance that at some point in the future that you might turn around and think to yourself, do you know what? I'm going to upgrade my computer. Energy prices have subsided a little bit. Got a few quid in the bank. What the hell? I'm going to go and get myself a 12900K or something. Go completely ballistic and just buy something insane. And you can do, because you'll have a little bit of power in reserve. So, yeah, awesome stuff. It's got a 14cm fan on the bottom, so that generally would mean that it's going to be quiet. But already we hit a stumbling block. That the power supply doesn't fit in now because I put the cables in. That is one of the tests that I quite often like to do on a case to see if it is going to be simples. So yeah, that is going to crush the cable. And what they could have done here quite easily is with the tooling just cut out a section there of that bar. That would give you enough clearance to not have to worry about that. Which is bloody stupid really. But hey ho, it happens. So now I'm going to put the power supply back in, and then we'll redo the cabling again after. And is there going to be enough room to put the cable through? Yeah. So there's enough room after. Again, it's one of those silly little things that you'd think that they would kind of get together in a room, and little things like that. I would love to design a PC case. I think I would do a really good job, and I think I could probably make it. I think I could make a decent PC case that would cost probably less than 50 quid. I'm pretty sure I could do that. If I took an existing design, which I know is on the market, and just tweaked it very slightly, I could make the perfect case. But will it ever happen? Probably not. Oh, come on. Nothing's going right tonight. You do get that, don't you? Sometimes you're starting to do something and it's like, why? Just why? Why is this not working? Why is everything out to get me? There we go. All I want to do is to see this thing fired up in all its glory. Once that's happened, I'll quite happily go and sit somewhere and be quiet for a few hours and meditate. Right, let's poke those cables back up. So HD audio.
Maybe it's because you didn't put your glasses on.
It is probably because I didn't put my glasses on. I can't see a bloody thing.
Stopping you from thinking.
Yeah. Right, so those just want to show you that you can pass the cables through pretty simply after. Just a shame you have to do that. Although saying that, that isn't the first case I've had to do that on, and I'm pretty sure it won't be the last either. Although, did I have to do that on the F15, Gamemax F15? I'm not sure. Don't think I did. Just think, if this was a pre-recorded video, imagine all of the stuff which I would have been able to cut out. And you'd have been completely none the wiser.
Right, really random reviews. I just put my PSU in first in all my builds. You do usually, Nick.
I generally do. I don't know why, for some reason tonight, I just decided not to. I think it's just lack of sleep, lack of energy.
Lack of thinking.
Lack of clarity of thinking, yeah. That's definitely a lot in that list, yeah. Right, where's my CPU power? Let's have that one first of all. Let's pass that through and see how much of a kerfuffle that is going to be.
Mark Point wants to play Fortnite with you one day.
Yeah, that would be great actually. I don't get a lot of time to play games, and normally if I'm going to put a game on, it's normally after I've just finished rendering or editing the video for the day, and it's normally about 11 o'clock at night. So it's not always the most sociable of hours, but yeah, definitely I'm going to have to put some time aside to actually do that. I quite enjoy playing Fortnite. I'm not very good at it. I play the zero build singles normally, or solo, and quite often I finish in the top 4, top 3.
Is it against yourself?
Yeah. But yes, I always get carried away because I camp out and hide in a bush somewhere with a rifle, and then if I see 2 people going at it, I'll try and take out one of them. But then normally the person who's remaining from that battle then knows where I've been firing from and comes to find me and just annihilates me. So, yeah. There you go. There's my life story right there.
Really random wants to jump in on that game too. Mark Point. And where is Mark Point? He says, I've played with people from the UK before, so no problem with times.
All right. Yeah, it's probably actually work out better because it'll be super late here, but probably not so bad there. Right, that cable. Oh dear, there's a lot of flex on that board. Okay, So we've got our power cable in. Shame that motherboard's not a bit wider actually. But there's the cable management on this isn't easy. Or I'm just making it look hard. I'm not too sure which it is. Probably a bit of both. Yeah, that's fine. There you go. It's a work in progress for sure. Let's try and tuck some of these cables away while I'm round this side. Actually, which ones do I need to plug in? So, oh god, there's so many wires at the back of this thing. So there is. What time is it? Yeah, there's a lot of cables going on here. So that could be cable managed that way. That's fine. That is going to the hub with the rest of them, so that's okay. I can ignore that. I think most of them are out of here. So that one, that's for RGB, so put that to one side. And do you know what? I think I've actually got worse at doing this.
It's the second PC you've got today, mind.
It is, yeah. The one I did earlier actually worked out quite well. I suppose that's what happens. So that is. I've already powered that up. No, couldn't have done, could I? Right, so addressable RGB. How am I going to do this? So we've got a SATA cable down here, which is going to power the onboard addressable, because that is all we have. That is supposed to go to a motherboard for a pass-through. So actually, I don't even know if it will support doing that, whether it will pass backwards as well. That is something I never actually considered. Because the built-in RGB, or RGB controller for the fans, actually is built in. But there's also a pass-through, which takes a signal from here. But will the signal run backwards through there also? Or is it just a one-way deal? I genuinely would be pissed off. Oh.
Those cables is hurting my mark point size.
It's hurting my brain. So that is from the pump. Those are from the fans. So let's plug a couple of those in. I'm just going to wing it and see what happens. Before I put the back on, I'm going to just fire it up and see if any of it will synchronize. Because that is something I didn't think of actually, that I may have to actually add an RGB controller to kind of tie it all together. Because the case's RGB is basically into these fans, sorry, the front three and the rear fan alone, but can be plugged into a motherboard. So you can control it from there.
Really random reviews. I think it's one way. I can't remember now, but I had issues with the RGB 3-pin.
Oh dear, this is not looking good. Have I got a female RGB thing here?
Is there a good universal RGB control software that you know of?
I quite like Signal RGB. It's a little bit clunky. It's getting better, but yeah, I think that if I was going to recommend one to use myself, I would probably go with that. I actually do quite like using MSI software. That works pretty well. Jesus, this is horrendous.
Reviews. I have mine directly to the 3-pin on the board now. The controller won't work with it.
Oh. Right. So, I'm just at my wit's end.
Put the wires on your head and from a distance it look like hair.
Yes, very good. Right. I'm going to put the graphics card in. I need to stop thinking about RGB. I'm probably going to end up putting the Gamemax hub in there, I think. Although saying that, I don't think that's going to achieve anything anyway.
Just something else.
Yeah. I did say in my review of the case that the fan setup, I felt personally, was a mistake.
Do you want a beer?
No, thank you. So let's take all this stuff off. Oh, that doesn't do anything. Don't you love it when you undo a screw and it does absolutely nothing? Why would they even put a screw there that does nothing?
Really Random says, is the controller Gamemax? Because it should be fine if it's with the case or Gamemax branded. I have different branded components in my system.
It is a Gamemax one actually, yeah.
So it might work right. Whereas ours didn't because it wasn't.
This doesn't make any sense. I'm saying that a lot today. I guess you never really know a case until you've actually built on it, do you? Thank you. Now it comes out. Thank you. Cool, that was a palaver. So at least one of these is actually non-captive. All the others are though. So now we can do this and try not to break off any surface mounted capacitors. I wonder how many people have done that because of cases that have got captive things on and they've actually lost a bit of motherboard accidentally.
Or their finger.
And then gone on to fire up the PC and it's like, why is my computer not working? Is it anything to do with the fact that you've just taken off the surface mounted capacitors so your motherboard is now dead? Because a manufacturer didn't want to spend like 3p on a a blanking plate. That is a little bit of a pet peeve of mine actually. Really, you should always have removable PCI Express blanking plates. It's just really cheap not to do it. Get that screw back in there. I feel like we're actually getting somewhere now. Had to happen, 2.5 hours in. I'm missing a screw now. Oh, no, I'm not, there it is. How did that go on there? It's a bizarre setup. Well, I thought NZXT were form over function. Right, let's plug in a graphics card connection. It has got an 8-pin on there. It's not really necessary, but why does this not look like it should? That hole is way too far over on that side. Right, where did I put that little thing for combining the RGB doodowers? There it is. Right, let's see if this is going to work. I'm going to do a test fire and pray. If anybody else out there is religious, if you want to help out, now's the time. Just say a little prayer. Say, "Dear baby Jesus, please let Mike's RGB work so he doesn't end up having some kind of cardiac arrest on camera." That's actually one of my fears. It really genuinely is. Actually carking it on a stream. That'd be really bad. Watched Tommy Cooper years and years and years ago as a kid, and that's just haunted me ever since. And everyone was laughing. They thought it was hilarious because he passed out. It turned out he's actually dead. Sad times. Right. Maybe I should see a psychiatrist. Oh dear. Right. Pick an end, I suppose. Right, let's see if this works. I'm guessing it won't. Is my if you've got any guesses at the moment, if you think this is going to work or not, please do let us know in the comments section.
Bang!
You idiot. I have some RGB. I can see RGB on the front.
And inside.
And inside. But are the fans RGB in?
But,
I can't see the fans.
babe,
No, they're
turn
not.
it round a bit.
They're not. What?
Let's see. That thing's not even lit up.
What thing?
Thing upside down.
It is?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I can see it's upside down.
It looks dull.
But the RGB isn't lit up. Well, it is quite dull. So, the RGB pass-through does not work for that. Hang on, where's the RGB button? Let's press and hold it and see what happens. That might do something. It doesn't appear to be. Oh, did I connect it back up?
You can turn it off before touching it.
Where's the cable go? Oh, there it is. No, I did connect it. Shit. Actually, so that's not doing anything at all, is it?
Hey Daisy.
I know, it is cycling through.
That's looking at one. What about this one? You doing this one?
So it's cycling through the colours. But you're supposed to press and hold it, and it then swaps over to the motherboard.
Okay.
So, right, okay. All is not lost, he says, in a confident, triumphant way. I'm adding more clutter, which I probably don't want to do, but if it fixes a slight predicament. So that is going to be RGB, so that's going to take an RGB signal from... No, still doesn't do it, does it? Or does it? I've got to try and work this out now. So incoming signal, that'll be a pass-through going into it. Yeah, that'll work. I've got no idea actually. So that is from the front. So let's just pretend that is another RGB source, which would be this one. Did that change as I touched that? Oh well. And let's plug that into here also. And did that turn off? It turned off the middle one. What the hell? Right.
Isn't the middle one doing something different?
Yes. You see what I've done is now I've just confused the bejesus out of it.
How does that even happen?
I don't know. So that's cycling through. Yeah, that's the built-in.
Right.
So that's the built-in controller. And the theory is you press and hold the button for 5 seconds, and it switches the RGB over into the other mode. So screwdriver time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it's just doing something mental there. Ah, actually, is that just a reflection or is the top one's working? And the top one's working, and the pump's working. What the hell? But are they doing the same thing? I don't think they are. No, they're definitely not. So, right. So yeah, effectively there's two different systems of RGB going on there. We have also got on the bottom RGB, which you can't see. So that is, yeah, that is a good reason to actually use a air cooler. I'm sure somebody mentioned that at the beginning of the video, to use an air cooler, and I think I'm actually completely right. But I don't understand why that isn't doing the pass-through thing. Pressing the button should do it, but it doesn't. It just makes the controller go a little bit crazy, which I don't know, where's that come from? So let's just try it on its own. So that is doing, right, so that is working now, and that is doing what it's supposed to. So it's controlling the RGB.
No double connections on the other fans?
No, don't think so. Right, so I wonder if one of these is not working correctly. So let's try one at a time.
Has that RGB got polyphonic ringtones?
Yeah. So that is working. That is doing what it's supposed to do. So I'm going to put a cap over that one. And let's go for the next one. Can you guys see that lighting up or not? I don't think you can because it's actually...
About your tea going cold in that PC.
Oh, don't worry about my tea. I've stopped worrying about that a long time ago. So let's plug in the pump. So is the pump on there? Can't see. Yep, that's on. So let's try this last connection, which is for the final fan. So when I plug that in, the rest of the fans all go a little bit mental. So is there a dodgy connection here? So it could be that fan isn't very healthy. Or I've snipped the cable or something. I don't think I have, but... yeah, so it does what it's supposed to do there. Let's try and plug it into another port just to verify. No, as soon as I do that, that's when it starts doing weird stuff. But bizarrely, the fans themselves, actually, if I tilt this round, you can see the fans themselves are actually doing what they're supposed to do. But it seems to be that that is, if I set it to red, it does something weird to the other channels. So let me unplug one of the others. Which one did I plug in last? That one, so... no, it's still doing it. Unplug, and they all do the right colours. Yeah, so one of the fans is, I want to say faulty, but I'm going to say fucked. That is much closer to the truth. What a nightmare. So yeah, I appear to have a faulty fan, which is not good. The RAM obviously isn't going to sync because the motherboard software isn't installed. But yeah, it does appear that you can control. Let me go back and plug all of the working fans back into the header from the front. So that is the front one. Configuring RGB is never good fun. So if I plug that into there, what is that? I'm not even sure what that is. Or if there's anything actually lit up. So what is that? That one there. Just plug that one in. So that's doing what it should do now because it's not passing through. So go back to there. And no. So yeah, the RGB, press and hold. So it skips through those okay, but it doesn't like being connected to anything. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure what has gone on there, but it does appear that if you use the right connections there, I should have gone for the 120mm or air cooling. That'd have been a lot easier. So anyway, it looks like potentially I've got issues to address there. Let's summarise, which is not always an easy thing to do when things like this have happened. The case itself actually is pretty decent to work with. I think I've just chosen the wrong parts, definitely. It seems okay, but I can't tell if it's putting a lot of air through there, so the fans are clearly running at like full whack or something. I do need to get an installation done on this and work out what exactly is going on. There's some very strange gremlins afoot here. I'm actually going to take the AIO out and put it into another PC or just do it on a test bench and see if it still does the same things with those LEDs. It shouldn't do, but it could be that one of those fans is actually a little bit duff, which is never good. Where is that noise coming from? Is that the power supply? No, it's pretty quiet. Oh, it'll be the graphics card as well, won't it? Because the graphics card isn't set up. Oh no, those are static. Yeah, I know where the noise is coming from. It's coming from the CPU cooler because it's running at full blast, I think. Yeah, it's not a bad case, to be honest with you. Let's have a look. A letter says, overall it's a rather nice looking PC. To be honest with you, it is. And that is the thing which really caught me. The fact that the RGB LEDs, as standard built in, are great. This is obviously going to sell really, really well to the OEM market, where manufacturers are going to get hold of this, they're going to chuck in a motherboard and processor, reasonable setup, and they'll have it on their displays with all the RGB going, and yeah, someone is going to be like, Mum, Dad, I want that PC. And that's probably when they're going to get it. They'll use it for a bit and then they'll be like, oh, Johnny wants to install a water cooler, and how can this be like, oh, right. This is where things get interesting in terms of RGB, which is, I think, is where this is. It's a real shame that they haven't included. If they'd have just included regular PWM, addressable RGB fans, even if it was just a couple of them, maybe just like one in the back, and you can fill the rest up with whatever you want and reduce the price a lot. Because I can quite honestly see that people in the kind of the more enthusiast kind of market are going to rip those fans straight out and put in something else. And because the fans are all tied into their own little controller setup, I think that's what people are going to do. They're just going to be like, for flip systems, yeah, fine, it's great. Installed, looks great. Someone's come to buy it, job done. But I think for people, if you're actually planning on keeping the PC and having it as your own, I think most people will probably swap those fans out pretty sharpish. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments, which I will read through after I've had a sip of tea. Dutch Jan says, still think hoses on the back? I can read through the holes in the case, that's really handy. See, this is why you don't want a case with grommets, because you can't read through holes if you've got that. That's got a nice cup of tea. Is there extra sugar in there?
I think so.
Tastes rather sweet. Okay, so have a look at some of your questions. Rick H, question, best GPU for 1080p at 60 frames per second? Best or cheapest? There's going to be a big difference between those. Cheapest to probably be on the used market, like a 1650 Super. Kenny D saying GTX 1070 for under £200 used. Yeah, that is a. If you can get a 1070 for less than 200 quid, they're a really solid card. 8 gigs of RAM, really good. I was very happy with my 1070 for a long time. What else we Dutch Jan still think hoses at the back. I think hoses will be back in the box. Dutch Jan says, put a photo on Discord. Who's that aimed at? Kenny D says, I think it's a good looking case, but if you're going to replace the fans, you might as well get a case that comes with better fans. Yeah. Oh, excuse me, hay fever. If that's the thing, that is why I said that this case is almost perfect. In terms of looks and what you can do with it, let's not forget this is micro ATX, which doesn't have the greatest of flexibility. Something which is really good, which is a rarity on micro ATX cases, and even ATX cases, is the sheer amount of clearance we've got at that top bit there, between the AIO and the motherboard. As you can see there, there's an absolute ton of clearance there. Even with the fans on and in, I can still get there and get to all the connections, and it doesn't damage my fingers, which is, I consider that is a bonus. So yeah, that's really good. Really good stuff. Yeah, lots and lots of room there. You can probably see actually from the camera, there's basically daylight coming through there. So that is, there's a good, let's see. There's a good, I would say 55mm between the top of the case and the top of the motherboard. Possibly even more. Hard to get an accurate reading without getting right in there and potentially shorting out the motherboard on the metal ruler, which is never a good idea. Actually, can I do it from the back without shorting anything out? Can't really tell where the motherboard is there though. Yeah, it's probably closer to 60mm. So that is a huge amount of room in that top section. So you could possibly get a bigger radiator in there. It does support a 280, which, ironically, if I'd have done this earlier, I could have put the NZXT one in, which I was doing a review on, which would have made actually other parts of my life very much easier. Anyway, we live and learn. But yeah, anyway, case-wise, for £50, I kind of got no real concerns. The only thing is, obviously, those fans, if you are adding other stuff or you want to expand the ecosystem for RGB, it's just going to be problematic, especially if you're on a motherboard that doesn't have built-in addressable RGB. If this board had built-in addressable RGB, it would be so much easier, because then you could plug in the fans to one header, you could plug in AIO and all that stuff to another header, let the motherboard take control of it, you'd be off to the races, there'd be no issues at all. But because we're relying on a cheap motherboard with effectively cheap controllers in these fans, it's just not worked out particularly well, which is a shame. But still, it gives me something to do tomorrow evening when I finish work, to try and figure out how best to go about this. Whether or not to go the air cooling route, which, to be honest with you, probably is the best way. It would solve a lot of problems, and it means the system would be, well, there'd be less wires to manage for a start. Maybe a more simplistic kind of overall theme for the system. And then try the 240s in some higher end systems, see how it does temperature wise. I'm really tempted to try the 120mm on something like a 3900X or even my 5800 and see if it can actually cope with it. I don't think it will be able to. But saying that, I haven't used a 120mm AIO cooler in such a long time that I don't know what they're currently like and what you can expect from them. So, I'm probably going to have to wrap things up now. I'll take a few more of your questions, but then I think we're going to have to call it a day because I can't really see that I'm going to get any further with this. There's no point me kind of cable tying it and managing it when it's likely I'm going to have to take the cooler out to see what is actually going on with it. So we'll take a few more questions. Shady says 3 fans will cost 50 quid. Kind of depends what fans you get. Like the MSI ones I picked up not a few weeks ago, they were £5 each or £6 each. £18 for 3 fans, piece of cake. In fact, Gamemax themselves actually sell their, I'm trying to think what model it is. There's a couple of different ones they do on ccl.com, ccl.co.uk for like £6.50 each. There's a choice of about 3 different models, so that would have been like better. And in fact, I would have been happier to pay maybe £10 more and have a built-in addressable RGB controller, such as Gamemax's own Dare to Win hub. That would have made a lot of sense with a remote control, bish bosh, and then effectively that would have been pretty much almost the same as the Kamikaze, which is kind of what this is intended to take over from, which also has a full mesh front. William Bodie says, Aletta, how much do I get becoming a fan of yours? William, I love your English. That's awesome. Michael Thompson says it's great to see more love being given to the micro ATX case market as it's been neglected. It has. The thing is with micro ATX, there's always a compromise. Always a compromise in something, which is why I was surprised to find this case that in terms of actual like fit and finish and what you can do with it, it covers a ton of bases. It really does. So yeah, in terms of a micro ATX case, there's not a lot that comes close to it. The only other one really is a Citadel Mesh, which is a very kind of odd case to build in for other reasons because it's a bit more squat. But yeah, and actually a little bit dearer at the moment. Kenny D says the Up Here ARGB PWM 3-pack costs £26. Yeah, that's a pretty decent kit, and also you've got the header in there as well, I think. Letter says ditch the AIO and slap on a Arctic Freezer 34 Esports. It's not a bad idea. Michael Thompson says I'm used to compromise. I'm married. Wife tells me what to do, and I do it. I think you'd, if she told you to do something you didn't like, you would probably tell her. William Bodie says, Mike's unboxing, you did a great job on the PC. Yeah. I did what I could. I wish I could have done better. I wish I could have finished it off and got it all done and dusted, and without having this absolute rat's nest of cables on the back here, which yeah, it is what it is. Literally though, taking out the AIO, we will reduce pretty much all of this cable clutter here. RGB controller will be gone, so that will all be tucked in. It will be much tidier. So definitely something I am going to work on. What I will do, because I probably won't do another full stream on this because it's probably not time, well, yeah, it's probably a little bit too time consuming. What I might do is, when I finish this off and decide what spec is going to be, I will take some pictures and I'll post it in the YouTube comments section or in the community hub. So if you click on the community hub when you go into YouTube, you can see like posts and stuff. I'll do it in there. I might even do a very short little short. You know, a short. I will do a short so you can see what it's about. I'll just do a very quick thing saying this is what it looks like, got it all sorted, blah blah. So I'll probably do that. But yeah, I think that is pretty much going to wrap things up for tonight. Thank you all so much for joining us. I'm sorry it hasn't come to a successful end, but at least we've learned a little bit more about the case and the pros and cons. I'm gutted that the controller doesn't work the other way round as well. I think I said it in the review, I've said it so many times tonight, I seriously think that for enthusiasts, this fan setup is a mistake. This case will still sell by the bucket load. And already, from what I can tell, CTL are selling them, Scan are selling them, who else? Overclockers. There's pretty much most of the UK sites are doing it already, so no doubt it will follow through in various other places. And they seem to be selling pretty decent numbers of them already. So it is going to be a good case to sell. People are going to buy them. Yeah, it's just a shame those fans, it really is. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed yourselves. I certainly have, even though it was somewhat frustrating at times, but I feel I've learned something, and at least now I know more about the products, I know what they can and can't do, so no doubt when the video goes out and people say, Mike, I've got this, why can't I do such and such? I say, well, the reason is because blah, 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 blah. Easy to answer the question. And it's only by going through things like this and videos like this that we work out the pros and cons, which it's nice to have you guys along to take part in that process. So I think that is going to be all. If you haven't already, smash the like button, it is appreciated. Best thing you can do, share the video. Sharing is caring, and it does improve the algorithm massively. So if you can share the videos to anybody, please do. I'd be appreciated. But I think that's going to wrap things up. Is there anything else? Have I forgotten anything, Kath? I haven't, have I? No. Don't forget, if you're installing Windows on anything, please make sure you use premiumcdkeys.com. CD keys on there, around about £5 for us in the UK. You get a little bit of discount. Use the code Mike's Unboxing, or MUB, or MUB5, I think, and you get a little bit more off as well. All the links for that are video description and pretty much everywhere anyway. So if you do need a Windows key or an Office key, feel free to head over to Premium CD Keys. It really does help support the channel. So, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we will catch you, that's you, in the very next video. Thanks for watching. Oh, sometimes I'm just such an idiot. Cheers all, see you later. Oh, why does it say end stream? Your stream will stop immediately and you'll no longer be live. That is the point. That's why I clicked on end stream. Night, everybody.